Hello little cuties, and welcome to my channel, Fixin' to Hillbilly. Today I'm going to be making a wreath that's not quite my own. I'm actually revamping a wreath from last year. Now as you can see, this wreath here has a lot of detail, and you can also see that it's that twig wreath that are so messy. That's why you see me constantly cleaning why I'm doing this wreath, because it's just ridiculous. Now here's some colors I'm going to put in there. I'm going to put the mauve color, the burgundy. I'm going to put the gold, and I've picked out just a couple of ribbons. Now I cut 4, but you're only going to need 3 of each, because I'm going to put 3 in there and then do a big bow at the bottom, just to make it look a little fresher. Now as you can see, I roll up the end, walk up the middle, and then roll the other end. Okay, so we're going to do that again. Let's roll up the end, walk up the middle, roll up the other end. That hides a lot of that fray. Then you're going to put those together, and then I'm going to take a pipe cleaner, and as you see, I have an orange pipe cleaner, which is a little bit more festive, and then I'm going to just twist those two to hold them. Then I'm going to take 1 of each ribbon, put them together, fold it in the middle, then I'm going to pinch it there in the middle, and then add that. No need to undo that pipe cleaner, just put it on top and wrap it up. Then I'm going to fluff those ribbons out so you can see them all, so everybody makes an appearance. Now at first I did try to put this on with the pipe cleaner, but that particular wreath style, they're very pretty, but I don't think I'm going to be doing any more of those because they're just too messy, and it's too hard to get the things on there to stay with a regular pipe cleaner without putting 2 together. So what I did here was I put 2 zip ties inside the pipe cleaner, and then I'm going to attach those together so that they're long enough to reach in the back. So you just put that together, and then now watch when I flip this over. Here's what you're dealing with. Those things are sticky, and they just keep coming apart and making a huge mess. But it was really hard to get these attached to the wreath, but we worked it out. It does take a little bit more time, but you can do it. And it was worth it in the end, because then you have a wreath that's refurbished from last year. It doesn't look the same, and that wreath is very pretty. I know it's messy, but it's very pretty. Now my table was clean when I first started, and all that is just fallout messing with that particular wreath. Now just adding 1 ribbon is going to add just a little bit extra to it already. Like I said, this is a pretty wreath anyway, but I mean, I just like, you know, things to be just a little bit over the top. Now I got me one of those little Swiffer things, because it really holds on to all that stuff, and I have a trash can set down there, so I can just kind of swish it over and swish it down in there and get rid of all that mess. And believe me, I had to do this more than once. It was crazy with that stuff. Now, you're going to go to the second one, roll it up, walk it up, and then roll the other end. And you can just hold that together, and then take the burgundy one. And I put some scissors there so you could actually see. So we're going to fold it up, walk it up, and then fold the other end. This is a real simple step to do. And then I'm going to add my 2 ribbons, the 2 different kinds, and they can be any kind. And I'll tell you, a lot of times you can pick these wreaths up after the season, and they're trying to get rid of them because they want to get all their Christmas stuff in. And I think I picked that one up last year for, I don't know, maybe $5. Wasn't very much, but a lot of times you can just, buy those, and then I store them in a garbage bag so that, they don't get all messed up or dusty or anything. And I got maybe 3 of them to redo. But when I go looking this time, I will make sure that it's not that particular kind of wreath. But at the end of any season, whether it be, spring or Christmas or Thanksgiving, any kind of holiday, even Easter, they always try to get rid of their stuff pretty cheap at the end of the season. So, just pick a couple of those up. No, this is for someone that doesn't have a lot of time, but you want a wreath that, looks a little, more than what you can purchase at the store. I mean, me, myself, I like taking my deco mesh and, building a wreath from scratch and just creating the whole thing, because, I just love to watch, how it all comes together. Now, as you see here, I'm going ahead and attaching that other pipe cleaner. And then once it clicks in, just clip that little piece off and then pull it down, because you're going to need all that to get through all that, I call it bird's nest, because every time I put one of these on my door, the birds come and pick those little twigs off to build a nest. So, and as you can see, I'm wearing long sleeves today. It's, I think, 53 degrees today in West Virginia. It's pretty cold. I know I lived in Florida for some time, and when you're from the hills, you want to come back. I mean, you always try to find your way back, and eventually you'll get back. That's just how that works. But I know my first year home, and I've always loved the snow, and I've always taken a walk in the first snow of every year. I've done it since I was 15 years old. Well, when I come home, it'd been several years since they had a lot of snow for winter, and the year I came home, it snowed and snowed, and my sister said, well, I know you love the snow and everything, but God really blessed you with a bunch of snow, killed all of us, but I bet you were happy. I said, well, you know how crazy God is about me. Always trying to make sure I'm happy. So I was just pleased. I love the snow. I don't like to get out and drive in it. Well, I used to, really didn't mind, but, now, not so much. I guess maybe as you get older, if you wreck, it's going to hurt worse. When you're young, you bounce back, quite a bit, which I don't consider myself old, but I'm not young anymore. But I am approaching 60 faster than I want to. Alright, so here we go again. We're going to fold that over at the bottom. I'll walk it up. And then fold it over in the other side. Then fold it over at the bottom, walk it up the middle, and fold it over at the end. And as I said, this just, hides that fray a little bit. Then you're going to take a couple of your ribbons, you'll put those together, then you'll fold them over. Go ahead and pinch those in the middle and get your zip tie. I'm sorry, that wasn't a zip tie, that was a pipe cleaner that I'm tying around there. And this one did take a little bit of time. I guess it's putting it on that particular frame because you want it to look right. But oh, it was just something else to wrestle with. Like I said, it's worth it in the end if you got the patience for it. I mean, I was praying Jesus take the wheel a few times in the middle of this because what a mess. And then, of course, you just put that zip tie. Now, that is a zip tie. Going through the back of the pipe cleaner. And then I'm hooking those together. Of course, if they don't click, you got to flip it over because you've got it on the wrong side. And then we're just going to attach that one. I only attach 3 because this is a fairly small wreath. You don't really need. I cut enough out for 4, but I thought that was a little much because I was putting a ribbon on it as well. And once again, the mess underneath, and y'all seen me just clean that off. Okay, now that I've got all those on, I'm going to go ahead and you see it makes one hairy, scary mess under there. So we're just going to clean all that up before we start doing our bow. And this little thing was pretty easy to pick all that stuff up, and then I just swished it down there in a trash can. Now we're going to start our bow. As you see, I always start with the tail. Then I'm going to do a hoop. Now this one, both sides seem to be the same. As you know, if one's lighter on one side and not, then you flip it over to the not so pretty side and then run your hoops through again. But this was pretty much the same on both sides. So I really couldn't see the difference. And I did have my glasses on, so now if I hadn't had my glasses on, it could have been different. Alright, and then you're just going to twist that, make your little hoop. Now these hoops to start, I started them at 5 inches because like I said, this particular wreath isn't huge. So we don't want the bow being, too much because I want to put some other things on top, another bow on top of this to make more. But this one started at 5 inches. You just twist it. And I still twist it because it does give it a little bit more hold when you put the zip tie on it. Then I just clip those off. I only did 2 of those. And then I'm going to come in with the other bow that I used, the other ribbon. And just run you a tail however long you want it. You can run it longer, you can run it shorter. It's totally up to you. This is your project, so do it your way. Now this one was a little bit different. So you run it through and then watch me twist. I'm twisting it to the not so pretty side. So that way when I come back with my hoop, then you're going to be able to see the right side. Now I have that across there. You can't even hardly. There we go. Okay. Now on this one, I went up to about 4-inch loops on each side. So just keep pushing down. Bring them out. And then twist it to the not so pretty side. Alright, and then run it back through. And on this particular one, I did 3 hoops on each side, so that way the bow is just a little bit more full. Now you've seen me put deco mesh in there. You can put deco mesh ribbon in there, that tubing. I didn't on this one, but you can add different things in it. Like I said, make it your own. There's no wrong way to do it because it's your project. Just because you're watching this video and maybe you're, doing the same things I'm doing, you don't have to use the same ribbon. You don't have to use the same deco mesh because you might not like the colors that I like. Now, this ribbon here, all of it come from the Dollar Tree. So I give $1 for all this ribbon. I bought a bunch of it. And then the deco mesh, it come offline from Well, the gold come from Amazon. But I actually went to Hobby Lobby and I bought about 4 rolls of that burgundy because they had it on sale for about $3.99 a roll about, I don't know, maybe 2 weeks ago or a week ago. But always check Hobby Lobby. Another place, a friend of mine come up and told me that there's a thrift store over there that had brand new deco mesh, big rolls for $1. So when you go to your thrift stores and things like that, just go in there and see if they've got some deco mesh or maybe some crafts that you can use, or maybe even an old wreath that you can clean up and refurbish and add stuff to it. You can get them pretty cheap there. And $1 for a roll of that, and it was the same size I buy. So it was all covered and it was still in good shape. Alright, so now I'm just going to dovetail those ends to give it just a little bit of a more high-end look, because if it's cut straight across, it just looks like it's unfinished. Alright, now I'm going to go ahead and attach this to the wreath. Get my mess out of the way. Now here I'm going to mess up my table again. See, just adding just a few ribbons in there changed the whole look of that wreath. Give it just a little bit more something. And those little berries, sometimes you know how some of them come off and you can see white. Couple things. You can pull them off or get you just a little paint and touch them up. Now, I usually keep paint around here. I get a lot of that apple barrel paint. And you can mix some colors and, you know, just make your own color. Touch some things up so you can't see it. Or you can even flip it over the other way. Flip it over to the other side of the berries where nothing was showing. And then just hot glue that down so it don't come back up. And if any of y'all have different opinions for that, go ahead and let us know, because maybe you have a different way of doing it that might even be easier than that. So we sure would appreciate the feedback. Now, here's what it looks like in the end. As you see, I did hardly nothing to this. Just put a little bit of extra here and there in it, and, you know, it just made it look so much better. But that's my project for today. We will be doing another one real soon. But I want to thank y'all for being here. And I appreciate all my new subscribers. I'm very blessed. Bless you all. And remember, you were born to do great things. So stay strong in the Lord. Never give up hope. And always take time to pray. It's real important. All right. We'll see you next time. Bye.